Hi there, this is Pranav from DBA's Diary. I hope you are doing great. So, today I thought I will share something which will be helping you in your DBA's life, day to day life, right. So, we have been covering many technical stuff. So, today this is again technical, however, this is more on the advice side and how to become a more successful DBA and what all advices I could offer, right, at your personal level. So, three things that I have I have been following and it has helped me. So, I would like to share that with you and do let me know in case of anything that you think that no, even that should be added, or if you think something I have missed out, or not at the personal level, but again at the technical side. So, at a personal level I would like to share three things. So, first is about we should not say no to everything. So, do not say no to everything, right. That is the first thing. So, when you become a DBA and then you start working out with team and then application team or development team reaches out to you with their concerns or questions. So, mostly the impression is that DBAs will say no. So, that should not be the usual case. You understand their issues. Instead of saying no, you can ask them many questions, and then that question should be in order to solve their problem, to understand their issues, and then how can you really solve them, right. So, I could think of one case wherein application team had come to me when I was a DBA in my previous organization, and then their application was not compatible with 2016 SQL version, right. And we were in the process of upgrading our SQL server. There was only one server which was 2019 version in the development environment, and they wanted to just do some basic testing or connectivity check. So, it was not really possible for us to provide them 2019 version immediately. So, then what we proposed is you can set up the like communication through link server, and that was something which helped them, right. So, these are few things that you can actually help them in fixing their issues and not saying no, right. So, understand their issues and then try to address them in whichever possible ways you can do. Now, there are certain things which is beyond our scope, right. So, for instance, development stuff or something to do with the operating system or database or at the network level, right. Database level we can definitely support. So, network or operating system or development is something which we generally say no, because that is not something which is in our scope, right. Now, there are certain things, I mean recently we had one client wherein we have configured auto start, right. So, now when we configure auto start, so at the database level we can stop and start the ASC, but then at the OS level we cannot do. But then in this case we have root permission. So, what we said is yes, we could do the host level restart, but then if some issues come at the OS level, we will not be able to address that. So, this kind of this is something which helped them in engaging less number of team than before. So, we as a DBA were helping them in restarting the ASC as well as restarting the host level, right. So, again as I mentioned before, so do not say no to everything, rather understand the issues, understand the problem, and how can you help, how can you assist them, what all things you can do. So, even if going out of our way is there, it is possible we should go, so that their approach or their effort becomes lesser. I mean they do not have to engage multiple teams, right. So, that way it should be negotiable, it should not be non-negotiable. And previously DBAs were supposed to be like very hard and no, it's a very stiff stuff. It should not be like that. So, as Brent Ozar says, like SQL Server tone, no, I got that, and in the hard code, that is not how a DBA is supposed to be. So, please try to help and see what all things you can do. So, do not say no to everything. That is the first thing. Now, if we come to second point, so be proactive and solution oriented. Okay. So, when I say proactive means it should not be like, it should not be that you are in the reactive mode when the problem has already occurred and then you are going to solve it. I mean when you join as a DBA, yes, it could be a situation that there are multiple issues already and you are solving them, but once you start getting used to the environment, so then you should have certain things already in place, right, so that you know the symptom and then you can solve them. So, for instance, if I talk about Sybase, so you should have a error log checking in place every 1 hour, 2 hour, you should get the alert from there if there is something which is printed in the error log. So, symptom will be already there in the error log, like number of objects has reached to threshold, or number of indexes. I mean, there are multiple things where that will be printed in the error log. Then have sysmon running for 10 minutes in the frequency of maybe half an hour or 1 hour, depending on the load of your system. And then you should have SP monitor config all running, maybe once in a day or once in a week is also fine, but when it's needed you should have the output. Then SP lock output, SP who output, SP I mean select start from sys processes. So, that should be there once in half an hour or something, right. And then you should find the pattern. So, again based on sysmon you can see what is the wait stats on which process, when you go to task context switches due to in that section you can find that out. What is the spin lock contention, what is the percentage of that, on which cache it is high. So, is it large IO or the default IO. Then you can also check the memory at the host level, at the ASC level, at the cache level, all that you can figure out. Then tempdb, is it having cache binding or no. If you have DBCC configure, is it having binding or no. I have covered the tempdb session, and also I have covered DBCC DB session. So, you can go through that. So, these all are there, which is part of proactive stuff. Then like print deadlock information, right. So, once you have the deadlock information print in the error log, you will get through the error log checking script. So, I can talk about one client recently. They used to have 400 plus deadlock every day. So, you can imagine how bad it was. When we checked, so as per, as you know, like Pareto principle, 80% of the problem is caused by 20% of the things, right. So, it was just few tables, we changed the locking scheme of them, and then it has come down to single digit now, single digit number of deadlock in a day, even that we are working on, right. So, three things are there in that also. So, first is about changing locking scheme, second is about indexing. So, you have the query, you can figure out the where clause, you can test that in the non prod and see what is the logical IO and how can we solve them by supporting with the index. And third is about the index, about the query tuning. Query tuning we keep it as the last thing, okay, last resort. But then if you understand the thing, so just follow the best practice, no need to invest too much on that, just follow the best practice, like it should not equal to not exist. There are certain things which you can actually follow, and then joints and all that, right. So, these things if you follow, you can actually be proactive, and this is something which falls under solution oriented, not the problem oriented, right. So, these are two things that is there in my list on the first stuff. Then third thing, which is about you should take a session with the application team or with development team, right. So, that you can actually explain what all things are there which you expect them to understand and solve it, right. So, explain them like what is the execution plan. I have covered one session also in that. So, maybe you can refer to that. So, execution plan, how does it look like, how to make sense of that, what are work tables, what is the involvement of tempdb, then what is the logical IO, physical IO. So, how the logical IOs are better than physical IOs, what is CPU time, then level of you can say how many levels are there in the execution plan, how the deferred thing looks like, then work tables, and then even joints you can figure out, you can see which index is getting used, then is it covering index or no, how the first column is very important, then how to design an index, how to check the effectiveness of that, all that you can actually show them and do your homework before going to session, so that you can explain them the things that you have that you want to share with them, and also be ready with the answers with the questions answer that they might have, right. So, that you explain them thoroughly and they also understand what you are trying to explain them, right. And then you also talk about indexing, I have already talked about. Then query based practice, how does that work, okay, and how to figure out the selectivity so that they could design the index, right. And I mean, just following basic things in the SQL also, SP blitz lock and SP other things are there. So those things are there. I mean, I missed this part. So in the proactive and solution oriented, you should have the first responder kit installed, so that you can go through SP underscore blitz log, SP underscore blitz, SP underscore blitz no cache, and then who is SP underscore who is active from what is his name, I forgot his name. He is very good. His scripts are very much used. Okay, mechanic. I think it's mechanic. Yeah, Adam mechanic. I think Adam mechanic. So you can use those queries and you can figure out the issues and go through their output and see in which ways you can actually help them in solving the problem, right. So just follow three things. So first is about don't say no to everything. Okay. Second is about be solution oriented and be proactive, and third is about taking session with the application team or development team, so that you can you will deal with only the residual problem and not the actual problem. So actual problem, once you start explaining them, they understand the issues what DBAs face and how this will help them in improving the performance. They themselves will address that, and you will be left with the complex stuff like no configuration issues and other thing which is to do with the infrastructure. So if you follow these three things, it will certainly make you a respectable DBA and valuable DBA. Okay. Yeah. So this is something which I wanted to cover. This is again technical, but then it's not too technical, and then this will this can help you in making yourself as a valuable DBA, and people will miss you if you leave the organization, because there are many things which you are doing in the background, and they may not even be aware that these all things are getting handled and without anyone noticing it, right. Yeah. So that is all. Yeah. Thank you very much. Bye.